Good night, guys. Good night, good night, good night, my team TLW. Good night, team Living Word. What do I mean by TLW? TLW stands for the Living Word. So you are. So guys, it's a long time I haven't have a, um, a Thursday um, talk with you. As I said, Thursdays is dedicated to where we talk about serious issues. And tonight I want to talk about my reality. My reality. Sharing with you my reality or my experience as an adult. Not when I was under my mother's roof, but when I become an adult, I'm telling you my reality. Good night, guys. Good night, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on which country and which time zone you are. It's a long time, guys. I haven't have a sit down talk with you guys. And tonight's I'm gonna talk about my reality. So let me put my reality as an adult. So that is what I'm gonna talk about because, guys, I don't know about you, but this is, you could call it my reality or my experience. So it's a long time I haven't have a sit down talk with you, where, as I said, on Thursday is dedicated to hard. We talk about serious issues, and tonight I'm gonna talk about myself. So, guys, welcome to the live. And I might not have been so consistent because, as I said in the video before, that there are some things that I'm doing that I can't talk about right now, but when that thing that I'm doing, when it come to fruition, I will tell you about it. I will give a testimony about it. So I've been working on that thing, guy. So when it comes to fruition, I will tell you about it. So for now, I'm just leaving it to God and let God take control about it. I talk about it in, I think it was Monday, or I think it was Monday or sometime. I told you a little bit about it. I was giving you my experience. So tonight, guys, I'm gonna talk about my reality as an adult, not when I was in with living with my mother as a child or a teenager when she was responsible for me, but as an adult. So let's get into it. I just hope you guys. How was your day? How was your day? How are you doing? I can't start this video, guys, without asking you guys. Hello, good morning. Is morning where you are? Good morning. How are you? I'm okay. It's night here in Jamaica. So good morning, Neg Sing Neg. Good. Sorry if I pronounce your name bad. Please forgive me, guys. So at Neg, I can shorten your name because I don't want to Neg she. Good night. I'm doing okay. And how are you, Neg? How are you doing? It's morning where you are, and it is night where I am right here in Jamaica. It is 11 minutes after 9. It's 11 minutes after 9. 11 p.m. It is 9. So where you are, Neg, it's morning. It is 9. So as I said, guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are, whichever country you are, and the time zone. I just want to welcome you to the live. And tonight, guys, is another Thursday night where we're talking about serious issues. And this time, this topic is about my realities. So guys, somebody like the video and then they unlike it. But please, as you watch, if you find the video interested, you can like and subscribe and can share your comment about your reality. So guys, what I realize, my reality, what am I talking about, are my experience as an adult. Guys, when I look at my life, um, coming from a home coming from a home, I grew up with a mother and a stepfather. A mother and a stepfather. I went to boarding school. When I when we were young, when I was young, my sister and I, we were the two old. I'm the oldest for my mother, and my sister that follow me, she's the second one, and we are the same father. So when we were growing up in Manchester, um, when we grew up, we were born in Manchester, Jamaica, and when we grew up with our grand aunt. My grand aunt, she was the one that grew my mother. So I grew up with my grand aunt, and I grew up with my grand aunt has two children, that is my cousins. So I grew up with my sister, my two cousins, that is my grand aunt's children. And we grew up in Manchester. There was a time when my mother had to leave the country to go into Kingston to find work. Because sometimes in the village, we call it village, or what you call village, we call it in Jamaica country. So sometimes high po at po dash 19S or 19S. Good night, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what time zone you are. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the live. Welcome to the live. You're all welcome. Love you, guys. Love you. You are welcome. So tonight I'm talking about my reality because I dedicate Thursdays to where we talk about controversial topics. Thursdays is controversial corner where I talk about controversial topics here. And tonight I am talking about my reality. And as I said, guys, I grew up in the country. Some people would call it the village, but we in Jamaica we call it country. When you're not from the Kingston, when you're not from the city, we call it country. Some people, when you're not from the city in their country, they call it village. We don't call it village. We call it country. So I grew up in the country in Manchester. And guys, let me tell you something. When I was growing up with my grand aunt, as a child, you have housework to do. You go to school. You have to get up in the morning. I remember the time my grand aunt had a lot of animals. She had dogs. She have a lot of dogs, a lot of cats. She have chicken. She raised chicken. She raised chicken. She have pigs. She have goats. She have rabbits. My grand aunt was a lover of animals, but I grew up with a very strict. If you could live in a cartoon, I don't know. But my grand aunt was a person that is very stern, very stern. Those those parents are guardians that is very stern. She's not gonna spoil you. She's not gonna spoil it. She's very stern. So anytime we do anything, remember when I was growing up with my sister and my cousins, anytime we do anything, thank you guys, thanks for the like. I remember anytime, guys, that me and my sister and my cousins do anything, my grandma didn't have to beat us. One look, you see, when she look at you, that eyes, the eyes, when she look at you, she don't have to say anything. You know what that eyes mean. She will look at you like this. And you see, when she look at you like that, you know that you have to behave. If you were misbehaving, or you was giving trouble, or you have been disobedient, once she look at you, if you don't behave, if you are giving trouble, if that look and you don't take heed, the next thing is you're gonna get spanking. Yes, guys, in Jamaica, we grew up where our parents, our guardians spank us. If you are from a country, I don't know which country you are, but we grew up in my era, in my time. Nowadays, children, parents are not even um, spanking children. They're not even spanking them with belts or beat them anymore. They don't do that. But in my era, in my time where I grew up, we used to get beating. We call it beating in Jamaica, or spanking, where you get the belt and you get the belt and you get beating. Some people call it spanking. So we know that when we see the eye, we just have to behave ourselves. We just have to become obedient because we're gonna get punishment. We're gonna get spanking with the belt. So those are some, and I remember growing up in the country, before we go to school in the morning, because Manchester is cold, it's a very cold parish. And we get up in the mornings, we didn't have hot water because in the country we didn't have water running in the pipe like some other countries. So the water is very cold and you have to bathe in that cold water. But before we go to school in the morning, we had to take out we have the cow, not the cow, we have the goats. And we have to take the goats and carry them to the pasture where they can get grass. So sometimes where the goats can get grass, it's a very far distant from our home. And I remember I had to take the goats when up the hill and down, and we go and find that green pasture where we take the goats and we tie the goat to a tree where the goats can eat grass. And then we have to come back home and get ready for school. We have to come back home and get ready for school. That time we didn't have toys, we didn't have phones, we didn't only have like a black and white TV. We didn't have even color TV those times. We didn't have cell phone, we didn't have cable. We just have the black and white TV, those two stations on the TV. We had like TVJ and JBC. Those were the two stations that we have in Jamaica back when we were growing up in the 70s, maybe in the 70s, maybe 80s, early 80s, or 70s, late 70s, early 70s, late 70s, or early 80s. We did not have color TV. We did not have cellular phone. We did not have cable. We did not have this social media thing. We did not know nothing about Facebook. We did not know nothing about Instagram. We did not know anything about YouTube or nothing. Those social media platform. We did not have that. We didn't have even the home phone. We did not even have home phone, guys, much less a mobile phone. We did not have that. So when I was growing up in the country, what I remember we had, what we had as fun, we had to play like ring games. We play outdoor games. We make our own toys. I had a dolly. I remember I had a dolly, guys. The only thing that I have that I could call modern. I had a dolly. One dolly that I get from I and that dolly I did not get any more dolly. It was a black doll. And I love that dolly so much. I used to make clothes for the dolly. Yes, guys, I can sew with my hands. I used to make dresses. I would get the material and I cut out the material and I would make dresses for my dolly. I would make panties for my dolly. I remember I used to make stuffed animals. I used to get the cloth and shape it out into a bear or something and stuff it and make stuffed animals. I used to do that. But guys, I used to sew with my hand. I used to even make like little skirts for myself, but I never use a sewing machine. I don't know. My aunt was a dressmaker. She was a dressmaker. That was her skill. So I used to see her sewing, but she sewed with a sewing machine. My mother is also a dressmaker. My mother, her profession was a dressmaker, and my grand aunt was a dressmaker. So I grew around people that are dressmaker. But I used to sew my little skirt with my hands. I had one little dolly, as I said. I did not have any more toys. These modern days toys that children have, we didn't have it then. The only little modern day toys that we had then that still exist now was dolly. So I had this black doll. I used to cut out clothes for the dolly and sew dresses and panties for the dolly. And I used to cherish that little dolly so much. I used to cherish it. Used to be my company. But what we do know when we gather as children, we used to play a lot of ring games. We did not have, nowadays, these children nowadays, they stay inside and then they don't socialize. Then they are by themselves with their phone, and they are, they don't know how to socialize. We did not have phones, so we had to, when we go out with the other children, we play. If there's any Jamaican here, if you're a Jamaican, you can say that is true, because we know. I don't know about any other Caribbean countries in those era. I don't know about any other, what they used to do indoors in your country at the age, in the early 70s and early 80s. I don't know what form of entertainment you had as a child, but I'm telling you my reality. So we used to play a lot of ring games like ring a roses, your pocket full of posies, and we used to sing about the two blackbird. We used to have this game, guys. Let me show you. We used to have this game that we play. I'm gonna show you the game that we used to play. We used to have a lot of a brown girl. Like everybody form a ring, a circle, and then once somebody in the circle running around in the circle, there's a brown girl in the ring, sha la 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 la. There's a brown girl in the ring, sha la 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 la. She looked like a what in a whatever, and then so the person that is the person that is in the ring they would sing and tell her what kind of pose, and they say, show me your motion, sha la 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 la, and she will pose. She do all kind of pose, whatever pose, and then she go on. And then we have ring a roses. We used to have three blind mice, and we used to have. So we never have social media. So we as children grow up to with the other children in the neighborhood, where we come together and we play games, outside games. We used to come together. That was our type of fun. Not nowadays, where these children are privileged to, all these gadgets, all these updated, all these type of, toys. We didn't have that privilege. But guess what, guys? We never used to get in trouble. We never used to get in a trouble. Some of we never used these things that they are showing on the internet, and children are getting themselves in trouble. Like they're going on these things and they're seeing some things that that they're not supposed to see, like pornography. You have you men and internet and social media now are coming out perverse, those men, and they would get the young girls or young boys and try to lure them into sexual things, and on the internet, putting children into compromising positions. So we never have those things. As a matter of fact, when I was growing up, we didn't know anything about sex. We didn't, you see, when these young children know, a 3-year-old can tell you now that how a child is produced in the womb. A 3-year-old can tell you now what a 3-year-old can tell you what how a child is conceived in the womb. I remember when I was growing up, I did not even know. I was about 12, 11, 12 before I know, really, because those old parents, old parents, they used to tell you that children drop from the sky. You can imagine that children drop from the sky. So at the age of 12 or 13, 12 or so, 11, 12 or 13, I didn't even know how a child is conceived, that it was conceived through a man and a woman having sex, and a child is born. We did not know those things. Our parents back then, they never used to sit down and tell us about sexual reproduction and those things. They were never even taught in school, because I think at that time they're saying those things are not for children. Children are not supposed to hear those things. So it was innocent, really innocent. Guys, please like if you can, like and subscribe, and comment if you can, like, subscribe, guys, as you watch. So this is my reality. I did not know about how a child was conceived in the womb. We never get our foreparents back then never teach us about sex education, that we know that a man and a woman has to have sex for a child to be born. It was when I was about 12 or 13, between 11, 12 or 13, that I get to understand that men and women have to come together to have sex, to have children. Because back in the 70s and early 80s, the parents never used to teach the children. We were, like you're innocent. We didn't have TV and internet for show us. You see, these children can go on the internet and go on and cable, and they watch pornography and all of these things now. All kind of perversion things just come up. Those days were innocent days, guys. The children that grew up in the 60s, 70s, and early 80s did not know these things. We grow up to go to socialize with the neighborhood, the children in the neighborhood. One thing, when we was growing up in the country, guys, when we was growing up in the country, you see, if I say I'm coming from school and I did something wrong, if I did something wrong growing up in the country, if I did something wrong on the road, another parents can scold me. If a person, you don't have, if a older person saw me, like, and saw me, yes. So totally cute. How are you? Hi. So I am talking about my reality, guys. So when I remember, they say it takes a village to raise a child. Back then, it takes a village to raise a child. Nowadays, you can't. You don't. That saying is not. Back then, it takes a village to raise a child. Now, if you even see somebody's child on the road or doing something wrong, you can't even tell that child not to do it. You can't even scold the child, because that child parents would come and curse you nowadays. But first time, the saying was, it takes a village to raise a child. So if you go on the road, if I go on the road and I did something bad, another parents could scold me, and that parents could come to my parents and said, I saw your daughter or your son out there doing something bad. And that and my and the parents would take that child and say, what is it? I'm hearing this. And you get a spanking. You could get a spanking from that parents that saw you did it wrong, and when you come home you get another spanking. That was it, when it takes a village to raise a child. Nowadays, you can't do something like that. That is why the children are so spoiled nowadays. That is why the children, they don't have no respect for the parents. They don't have respect for adults, because you can't. First time, when you go to school, the teachers, if you reach late, the teachers could beat you. You get a beating. The teachers were allowed to spank you. Now the teachers are not allowed to spank any children. Nowadays, in Jamaica, if you, even as a parent, if you have a child in a home and the child is something wrong and you spank the child can go and call the police and lock you up. That is why the parents know, because these children threaten them that they're going to call police. You can't. How you going to discipline a child? How you gonna discipline the child? You sometimes you talk and you talk and you talk, and the children them not listening. You talk and you talk, and you say, Susan, don't do this, don't go there. Susan keep on doing it. And sometimes when the child not listening, you have to find a way to show them that they are serious. So you say, all right, so the first time, you couldn't do those things. If your parents talk to you that back then, you have to obey. Or if you don't obey, you get beaten. You get spanking. Nowadays, parents can't talk to the children. The children run the parents' life, and they can't beat them. They can spank them in the school. They can spank them at home. And if they go on the road and do something wrong, and an adult talk to them, they will curse the adult. They would want to fight the adult, and they would want to fight the teacher. They would want to fight the parents. But back then, guys, I believe back then, even though we did not have these modernized gadgets, we were not privileged to phones, internet, cables, social media platforms. But we believe back then, and that is why I believe that we had the best type of children were grown with manners. Children were grown with manners and respect. We did not, even though we didn't have these gadgets, children were grown with manners and respect back in the in the early 60s. These children are there, and I realize that these children nowadays know how to socialize. They don't know how to socialize. Hi, Sammy, Samika Westom 7318. Hi, thank you for joining. So guys, I'm saying thank you guys. Love you. Thank you for joining. You're all welcome. So this is my reality. Even though I grew up in the country, you might call it the village. We in Jamaica we call it in the country. We didn't have back in those era of the 60s, the 70s and early 80s. We did not have cellular phone, mobile phone. We did not have cables. But I grew up with electricity. But even the television that we had, then was only two channel, and it was then JBC and JBC and JBC. I think it was what? At that time it was one. Yes, it was one channel that we have back then, and it was JBC, Jamaica Broadcasting Corporation. And if you are Jamaican, you know this. And you see, when it comes with the JBC TV, one channel we had, and it was in black and white. It wasn't colored. It wasn't colored. And you know what happened? As it reached 12 a.m., 12 a.m. in the night, the TV sign off. It sign off the TV. You can't watch nothing past 12 a.m. That was how the TV was programmed. And unlike now, you have the television where you can watch. You can go behind 12. You can watch. You can go on the TV anytime, whether it be 12 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. You can watch. Back then, TV sign off at 12 a.m. 12 a.m. the night, no TV. You just see this big thing come up on the screen. And you can't see nothing more. But what I used to admire, there are things that what I used to like about those era. We thought those were the best era, because when you grow up in such situation, you think it was the best because you had nothing to compare it with. We did not have anything to compare. We would say, all right, over those persons in those countries have color TV, they have home phone, they have internet, they have whole a different channel. We did not know that other countries have these things. We did not have know that other countries have these things. So we grew up in the country and said this is it. So we think that we had the best life. And this was the norm. This was the normal things is. That's also we grow up and believe. And guys, let me tell you something. There are things that I really like growing up as a child in those eras. What I like, you see, this Sunday morning, we had to go to one thing with my grand aunt. One thing in those era, guys, you have to go to church. You have to go to Sunday school or Sabbath school. If the parents is a worship on the Sabbath, the children have to go to school. If the parents are the guardians worship on a Sunday, the children have to go to school. Even if the parents don't go to or the guardian don't go to church, the children have to go to Sunday school and they have to go to Sabbath school. One thing, at that time we didn't have no teenagers getting pregnant and grown teenagers having children. We did not have teenagers having children. It was very hard to find teenagers getting pregnant. And nowadays, a lot of teenagers having children and they don't even know how to take care of themselves, much to take care of a child. We did not have that back then, guys. We did not have those things back then. So when one thing I used to like, we have to go to church. One thing back then in the early six, growing up in the country in Jamaica, in the 60s, and 80s, you have to go to church. You have to go to Sunday school or Sabbath school, depending on which day you worship. And one thing about those times, guys, let me tell you, you see, when school over, you get, if your parents or your guardian know that school over 12 p.m. When school over 12 p.m. or if it's over 2 p.m., you better make sure you reach home by 2:30. You can't be out there coming home 2 hours or 3 hours after school. You're gonna get a spanking. You have to come home. And if you were doing unless you were doing extra lessons at school, unless, because what we used to do after school, we used to have extra lessons, because when you have the common entrance, we call it common entrance back then. It's not like nowadays where we call it pep and those type of exam what we have now. Common entrance, we call it in Jamaica, where you do an exam to go to high school. In my time, it was called common entrance. So the only reason you can stay late after school, unless you have extra lessons, and you get extra lessons where they teach you a lot of things about the exam. You have to do a national exam to pass to go to high school, from prep school or early age school. So the only excuse you could give at that time was to say that you were at extra lessons. But if you have no extra lessons and school over 2 p.m., you have to make sure they give you at least half an hour, to the least maybe an hour. But you think you could come in the nights? You think you could come in 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours after school? You dare not step into that house, you will get another spank, spank. There's a belt. There's a belt there. The belt, that's what you're gonna get. Oh, the parents, they were very strict. So nowadays you find a lot of children are missing. We did not have missing children those days. We did not have a lot of people missing and people being kidnapped. We did not have that. What you have nowadays. Nowadays you have children going to school and they coming home in the nights and parents can't even talk to them. That is why some of them are being kidnapped, killed, and those. So even though those days, back in those era, we could say it was not developed, but we were safe. We were safe. We didn't have the lot of crime and violence that is taking place now in the society. How people treating children, are abusing children, raping, murdering, abusing children like that. We did not have it those days. It takes a village to raise a child. Community comes together. People look out for other people's children. Nowadays, people don't look out for other people's children. If they see other people's children on the road doing things, they can't talk to them. Because if they talk to them, they could, because some of we parents nowadays, we set it bad. We set it bad in a way that if anything go on the road with our children, we can a stranger can correct them. And so because that stranger out there cannot correct them, they see your children in trouble and they leave them alone. But then we didn't have this whole of things happening to these children, young children nowadays, because it takes a village to raise a child. Each parents look out for the other parents' children. So as I said, this is my reality. So when I was growing up, one thing I did like to enjoy, away from going out and play with my friends, playing hide and seek, away from playing with my doll and making clothes for my dolly, and making stuff and stuffed toys, make clothes for my dolly. And one another thing that I really love, I was a reader. I love to read, guys. When I was growing up, I loved to read. You know what kind of? Let me tell you what I like to read. I used to love to read fairy tale books. My fairy tale books. Those fairy tales was one of my favorite books. Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, Snow White. Those stories about Snow White, Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. We read about the Red Riding Hood. We read about um, what the other one with the long hair. Nowadays, children not even know them story nowadays. Children not even read. Then they on social media, they not even spend time reading. We had to spend time reading. I used to love those fear time. The princess come and take the king, the prince come and sweep the princess off her feet and carry her to the beautiful palace. Those were one of the some of the storybooks that I used to love to read as a child. And what I used to love to read, guys, that's number one. I used to love to read and still do Bible stories. I was passionate about the Bible. Sometimes when my grandaunt and them can't find me, I'm in because I used to love to read. Anything I catch to read. So because I love to read, I used to love to read the Bible. There were times, guys, that I even know the 66. I could say the 66 books of the Bible from Genesis to Revelation out of my head. I used to know the 66 books of the Bible out of my head without, I could say it without have to, I could memorize it and say it. I used to love to read the Old Testament and hear. You know what I used to do, guys? When I went to a prep school. And in the school, they had a shelf with a lot of Bible story books. I used to take those books from school. Actually, I used to take them out without the teacher's permission and take them and carry them home and read the story of David and Goliath, of Joseph. I used to love to read Bible story. I don't know why I was passionate about Bible stories, guys. I used to just sit down at home and read the Bible. I used to love to read the Bible, guys. I don't know. I used to be so passionate, especially about the Old Testament. I was reading the Old Testament stories because I was seeing the books about the Old Testament, story books, Bible story books at school. So one time I said to myself, why? I said, God, why you make me in this time? Why you never make me in those biblical times? Why you never make me the time of Joseph and the time of Abraham and those things? One time I said to myself, Lord, why you never make me those time? These men were men of faith and so forth. And guess what? I was because by reading the Bible and the storybooks, I get to understand about God, and I used to understand and love God. I don't know, from an early age I used to love God because reading the Bible, it points you to God. And going to church because I had to go to church. My grand aunt make sure that we go to church every Sunday. We can't skip church unless we were sick. So going to church and reading the Bible, I get to understand who was God and who is God. And by the time I was 10 years old, I got baptized. I got baptized at 10. And nobody forced me. I was at church at 10 years old, and the pastor was there preaching, and he was calling to altar call. And there was something that was inside of me stirring me, and I was crying, and my grandaunt saw it, see me crying, and said, go up to the altar. And went up to the altar, and I got and give my life to God at the age of 10. And after I got baptized, guys, at the age of 10, I start to read. You're coming now into early teens. I had to do my common entrance, and I had to get prepared for go to high school and so forth. I remember growing up at the age of 10, getting baptized, when I first um, when I start to see my menstrual flow. I start to see my I start to see my menstrual flow at the age of 9, 10. Yes, some people saw the menstrual flow were called period or menstruation. I saw mine when I was 9, 9 or 10 years old. I started early. But guys, I remember one day I was at home. I was washing, because you're washing in the yard because we did not have, as we say, we did not have washing machine. We didn't have washing machine, so you have to go in the yard. You have the bath pan where you wash your clothes in. You sit down and wash your clothes in the yard. And I was there washing my clothes, and I saw, and I did not understand what was going on. I saw that there were spots on my panty, and I was scared. I thought something was wrong. What is this? What is this red thing on my panty? I thought I was sick. I was scared. I did not know it was menstruation because we weren't taught those things. And I remember it was there, I was washing, and there was this young girl. She was much older than me. She saw she saw it, and she went and told my grand aunt, and my grand aunt called me, and she called me, and she started to give me an education. She said, this what is happening to you now, you start to see your menstrual flow. This is we call period or menstruation. And she started to educate me about it. At that time, what they had was we call it, you see, the stay free that they had now, the stay free, or I don't know what you call it in your country, that you use for your menstruation. Nowadays, you have you have the stay free, where you have the at the back of it, you have that thing that you can glue it onto your panty seat. That glue that they put, the little thing that they put on the back of the stayfish, so you can glue it on your panty seat when you're wearing your pad or your stay free. But then they did not have that glue on it. They did not have that glue on it. So when you wear the pad, when you wear that stay free and you put it on, what they used to do is like tie it, get a little string and tie it around your waist. So when you walk, drop out of your underwear. So when you wear, you do. So that was how it was, guys. You wear those, and it was some of those long stiff where it looked like maternity pad. They did not have these little fine ones, small ones. It was those pads that we used to wear back then, our menstrual, our the pads for menstrual flow. It was those ones that look now like a maternity pad for mothers that are giving birth and are gonna wear it. And we did not have the adhesive strip at the back to keep it in the panties, and keep it onto the panty. So they had to, my grandaunt have to teach me, you have to take a piece of string and tie it on a waist to keep. So when you have on that stay free, when you have it on, it stay in the panty and drop. I can remember one time, guys, sometimes we have to carry water. Sometimes when we don't have any water, we have to go from one place to get water. And if to carry the water on my head, so you have to put the bucket with the water in your head. And I remember one time I had on my I had on my stay free, guys. It was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life as a early teen. At that time, I did not have on. Sometimes if you don't tie the string around your waist, you can wear a shorts. You can wear a shorts underneath when you see in your pad. You can wear shorts if you don't use the string and tie it on your waist. You can have on your panty and have on and wear a shorts so that the stay free or the pad don't drop out of your panty. I don't know. I did not have on a shorts. I did not put on the string to hold it in, and I went to catch a bucket of water. I had to carry the water on my head and use my hand and hold it up like this. Remember, we're growing in the country, you might call it the village. And I remember while I was carrying the water, I feel the stay free start to twist, twist like it's gonna drop out. that it was gonna drop out on the ground. I was so embarrassed. I was a few minutes from my home and I was saying, Lord, please don't let this thing drop out on the road. That was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life because remember I have the two hands to balance the water in my head, and there my pad, my stiff is gonna drop out on the ground. Suppose somebody pass and see this. So I begin to walk slowly with the water, slowly, 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 until I reach home. And from that time, I said to myself, anytime I see my menstrual flow, I have to wear a short or a tight. So that would have been one of the most. That is my reality, guys. And I remember when I went to do not my GSAT, my common entrance, so that I could pass to go to a high school. In fact, I when I went to do the common entrance, I did not pass my common entrance. So if you don't pass the common entrance, you have one thing that they call the grade 9 achievement test. So if you don't pass the common entrance to go into first farm, you would have to wait and do the common entrance, and that common entrance exam would take you into third farm. So when you do if you don't pass the common entrance you pass it, and you will do the 5 years of high school. But if you did not pass the common entrance and you pass the age, because with common entrance you get two chances to do common entrance. But if you pass the age of doing common entrance, you have to do the overage exam. And that overage exam that you have to do, when you do it, it will take you will go into high school at third form and not first form. So I did not pass. So guess what? I had to do I was supposed to do the overage exam. They call it overage exam. But then at that time, my grand aunt, she was saying that, that time my mother had left us, my sister and I, with my grand aunt in the country, and she had moved to town and for a better life. So my mother moved to town where she met my stepfather, and so my mother now said it's time for my mother my grand aunt said no, it's time for my mother to take me and my sister into Kingston because life was getting difficult for her. She have her two children and so forth. And so, you know, and so what happened now, we look for a school. So my mom was going to take us from the country now into Kingston where she was. And so I was supposed to do over age exam, but I never get the time to do the over age exam. So I went to Jose Marti Technical High School. I went to Jose Marti Technical High School, and I went there and I did a test because since I was coming in Kingston, they were looking for a boarding school, a school that would, a technical school, because it's only technical school. If you don't pass the common entrance, the grade 9 achievement test would take you to a technical high school. You can go to a high school, but a technical high school. So the only technical high school that was near to where my mother was, where we're gonna when she take me into Kingston, was Jose Marti. So what happened? We went to Jose Marti. I did the test, and when I did the test, I passed it. So I went to Jose Marti. Jose Marti is a Spanish school, was owned by the Cuban, and I went to Jose Marti, a boarding school at in grade 9, third form. I went there, and guys, that was a new reality. That is a new reality for me. I was going among students. This is a boarding school that takes students from all over Jamaica. Jose Marti at that time was a boarding school. You have students from St. Anne, you have students from Trelawney, you have students from Montego Bay, St. James, St. Thomas, Portland, St. Mary, all over. So when I went to Jose Marti, it was a wake up call, guys. When I went to Jose Marti, I couldn't even comb my hair. It was my grand aunt that was combing my hair to school. I couldn't even comb my hair on here. Here I here I left out of my grand aunt's home where I was sheltered and thrown into a boarding school. Thrown into a boarding school where I didn't know nothing. I couldn't even comb my own hair. I wasn't exposed like some of these students. I tell you, that was a journey. At the age of 13, I went to a boarding school. Never, I was thrown into a boarding school with people with different children with different experience. Some of them older than I am. And guess what? You have the boys' dormitory, and the girls' dormitory. Poor me. When I was shy, and you have like you have in the boarding school, you have like first farm, second farm, third farm, fourth farm, fifth farm. So when I went to third farm, there were boys in the fifth farm and fourth farm, some of them tall. So and when I passed, they used to call to me. I was so afraid. Remember, it was when I went to high school. When I went to high school, I know how that a child was conceived in the womb. It was there that I learned that it takes two, a man and a woman, to conceive and get a woman pregnant to have children. So I'm telling you the intensity in which I was thrown to grow up quickly. Jose Marti, I learned the good and the bad. I learned about good people, good friends, bad friends. I learned about, when you see, how boys are, how, in terms of how, how they will come up to girls, or how they make approach, how this. I'll have to learn how to wash my clothes, and you guys, you learn responsibility. You have to learn responsibility. If you went to Jose Marti school, if you, as you see I'm talking, you see, if you watch one of my shorts where I talk about, and that shorts, you will see me pose with a lot of students, a lot of people at a seaside. If you see that video on my shorts where I was posing on the shorts with a lot of people, we were at a seaside. Those are my past students, class of 1987. We have a WhatsApp group now where we go out together. Yes, some of my classmates have passed on, some of them died, and so forth. But we try to connect. But when I was going there for the first time, they used to have this thing where when the younger persons come in, we call it bully. We bully them. So if you just come in as a freshman, you will get bullied. They will take away your lunch. They will grab you. The older one will take you, the younger, you just come in and they will bully you up, like grab, and those things. So when I came and I hear those things, I was afraid. I came in grade 9. Me and two other girls, we came in grade 9. So we keep together because the others came in at grade 7, and we came in at grade 9. So we were in grade 9, we were the three that came in at grade 9. So we stick together. We weren't by ourselves, we stick together, you know, and so forth. So because we stick together, they did not bully us. I did not get any grubbing. But those students that came in grade 7, maybe at that time, grubbing was not so, grubbing was out by the time I reached there. But those that came in at grade 7, the fifth farm and the fourth farm would bully them or grub them. They would, you know, especially the boys, them they would grab them. So when I went there, I was thrown into a world of learning to do things by myself. I was thrown into a world of responsibility. I was thrown into a world of experience about the human body. I was thrown into a world of experience and how to comb my hair, because in the dormitories, the girl dormitories, you have a bed and they give you like a closet where you must keep your clothes, and you have to have your own you have to have your own soap, you have to have your own things to wash your clothes, like you have to have your own basin, you have to have your own brush, your own soap, you have to have your own things, your clothespin to wash your clothes, because you're at a boarding school. So I have to get those things. You have to learn. When I went to Jose Marti boarding school, I couldn't comb my hair. I have to depend on other young ladies to comb my hair for myself. Every morning, I have to look for somebody to comb my hair. One morning, they decide, say, they now comb my hair. I said, Lord, how am I going to go to school with my hair like this? I was forced to learn. So what I started to do, because I couldn't cane roll, I even know I can cane roll somebody here, because I learned that at Jose Marti to cane roll. I can do any cane roll, but to do my own here is kind of difficult. But I learned to cane roll. But what I used to do, because I had to learn how to do my own hair, because I couldn't rely on people every time to comb my hair. They were getting tired of me asking them. So I had to learn to comb my hair. I used to just get my hair and plait it up fine, 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 and then catch it up in one, and so forth. So practice, by doing that, practice become perfect until I learned to comb my hair. And right where there was in our dorm, in the dormitories, guys, there was a housewife, meaning a housewife mean somebody that check the dormitories, that to make sure the girls are keeping their dorms clean, their beds are spread, and that the closet is spread. They come and they grade it. The housewife, or the housewife that is responsible for the girls dormitory, and for the boys dormitory, I guess them have a man for that. But there was this woman that was responsible to come in the dorm. She live on another section of the campus. She would come in and inspect that the dorms are clean, and that your beds are spread, and that your closet is clean. And so that was what we learn: responsibility. Not only that, not only that, guys, let me tell you something. If you go to a boarding school and you come out workless in life and don't know if you take care of yourself, you something bad. Anybody that go to Jose Marti and leave Jose Marti will make it in this life. They know the hardship, they know the struggles, they know responsibility, they know how to work hard. Because guys, you think it's only the dam? Before it, we used to have the morning shift and the evening shift. If I'm on the morning shift, when all right, let me tell you, Jose Marti was an independent school. We have poultry, where we have chickens, that we poultry, where you go with a lot of chickens, where you will be responsible to go and pick up the eggs. We have poultry, we have fishery, where you go and feed the fish. We have the farm, where you go and pick the where you go and plant things. You have the way you call it now, for the part where you go for the cows. There was this place that they have the cows, like a machine where they would use the machine to squeeze the milk from this cow's breast. You have that part. You have another part where you have the piggery. We have to go and clean the pig pen. So you have different, you have where you have to wipe the corridors. You have to wipe the corridors. And that was what I did not like, because me as a, as a girl going to school, and you see the boys passing by and seeing you wiping the corridors. But the housewife would put you, and each person was given a rasta. A rasta. They would say, like, Shelly Ann, if I'm on the morning shift, and when I go to school, I go to classes, and when I go to classes, when I come from classes, you look on the roster. Which assignment are you supposed to go and wipe the corridors? Am I responsible to go to the fishery, the poultry, or to go to the farm? So you look on the roster and you find your responsibility. So after, if you're on the morning shift, after you come from school, you go and do your duty. If you're not good, do your duty, they will carry you to the principal, and the principal was a very stern person. Guys, they, sorry for the break I had. I was on an emergency call, guys. I was on an emergency call. I'm sorry for that. But as I was saying, guys, let me tell us, I, I was saying to you about my realities. And this story that I'll tell you, I could write this in a book. I can. This is just my teenage, my teenage to my childhood to teenage stage. This is my reality and my experience, and I'm just telling you this section of my life from when I was a child to teenager. What I went through, my adult experience and my adult life. I will share with you guys another time because I can't say everything here. So back to high school now. I was at as you know, the guys, internet give a lot of trouble. Sometimes connection is not good. Sometimes the connection it go the go in and out. I don't know, from the other day we're having some bad internet connection. So guys, sorry about that. So what I was saying to you guys is that when I was going to high school, I was thrown into a world where I didn't even know. I have no idea. It was like you was a big, you're a big responsible person. You're like an adult, have to go out there and take an adult work and know how to take care of themselves, how to fend for themselves, how to do things. That was what I, as a 13-year-old, had to face. And I had to learn quick, guys. I had to learn quick. I remember when I was going, as I tell you, I could not comb my hair. I couldn't comb my hair. I didn't even know how to comb my hair. And I have to rely on some of the young lady, some of the girls there to comb my hair. At one point, they start to take step at me. They used to insult me and this, so I had to, I said, nah, do it. And I had to force to learn to do my hair by myself until I could comb my hair. Practice become perfect. So as I was saying, that I was forced, guys. So I remember after learning to comb my hair, I remember I didn't I remember, guys, I remember one day I was at high school. That time I just went there, when I went to the boarding school, I wanted to wash my uniform, and so I did not carry a basin. I did not carry one of those bath pan or a basin where I could wash my clothes. So I was there, and I'd borrowed this lady, this young, this was this girl by the name of Melody. I borrowed her basin to wash my clothes, guys. I borrowed her basin to wash because I did not carry any basin or anything. Because remember, I just came to the school and I did not know that I have to carry these things. And when I borrowed the basin and was in there washing my clothes, she came looking for a basin. I said I borrowed, and she insulted me. And she insulted me and tell me don't use her thing. I was so ashamed when she insulted me. And I called my mother, and because my mother was nearby. I was fortunate to live near because Jose Marti is near to Duane Park. Some of these students live far out in far parishes, so I was living near just so where Jose Marti is, and where Duane Park around that the boulevard is. I was living near, so I told my mother, and she bought a big bath pan, a very big bath pan for me to wash in, and she bought a small basin. And would you believe, I had the biggest bath pan and the basin, and the same girl that cursed me and insult me for her basin was one day came to borrow my own thing. And I said to her, no, you know, borrow my things because you never want me use or something. You insulted me. I was so insulted because I was a quiet person at the time. I was not quiet. I wasn't, like I'm outspoken and I would defend myself. No. Some people could just come bully me and so forth, and I would just be calm and, make people insult me, you know. Because I just came, I did not understand. Like I just young and innocent, and you're moving against people where have experience, people that are girls that have experience. I was just thrown as a 13-year-old up in the boarding school among other students that have experience. So I was a very shy person, a very, so they used to, can just say anything to me and I just take it. I wouldn't quarrel, I wouldn't curse, I wouldn't do anything. So they would think me as somebody that is soft, and they would insult me. So after she insulted me, if I borrowed her base and she insulted me, I told my mother that I need a big bath pan to wash my clothes in, and I need a base, and my mother carried everything that I need. And the same girl that insulted me because I used her base, because I didn't know that I was supposed to carry a base for myself, or a bath pan for me to wash my own clothes. I didn't know I need a basin to wash my clothes, and my mother carried, and I had the biggest basin, the biggest bath pan, and that same girl that insulted me was come and borrow my stuff. And I said, guys, I tell you something. I was learned to. I That was the first time that I felt so. The second time, the first time when they insulted me of combing my hair. So then I come here, I had to learn. And the second time when the girl insulted me because I borrowed her basin to wash in and so forth. So I remember even during this process, it's like these girls, they would try to bully you because you don't come, you're coming, you didn't come with them from grade 7. Because they're coming, these they're coming from grade 7, I'm just coming from grade 9, so they know each other. So it's like I am, just new to them. I didn't know them and their temperament. And I remember, as I was saying to you guys, when I was at Jose Marti, we had to learn to do duties. everyone has their own duty to perform. You had, but I remember when I had to go to the piggery, I did not like to go to the piggery because pig pen, you have to go to the pig pen. When they put you look on the roster, and you say, if you're on the morning shift and you come from school, you have to go look on the roster. And when they say you have to go to the, no, no, for the students never like to go to the piggery, because you have to go into the piggery and clean the pig style, the pig pen, and the pig pen smells so bad with this pig doodle and so forth. So when you look on the duty roster, you have to come and look on your duty roster. If they say you're supposed to go to the piggery, you have to go and to the pig pen and clean the pig pen. If you look at the roster and then say you must go to the poultry, you have to go to the poultry and you have to go pick up the eggs them and carry them in a eat carry them get they have these egg. You have to go to the poultry and get the eggs, pick up the eggs from the poultry where they keep they raise the chicken. So you have to go to the chicken pen and pick up the eggs. If you are assigned or you're put on duty to go to the poultry, you have to go to the poultry and pick up the eggs then. If they assign you to the piggery, you have to go to the piggery to clean the pig pen. If they assign you to where you go and milk the cow, you have to go and get the and milk the cow. If they assign you to go into the to clean the corridors, you have to get your mop and clean the corridors. So if so, sometimes I didn't like to clean the corridors. I try to make it and clean it because as a young girl growing up, and you might see this guy, you might see one of the students that you admire. Because when I came in grade 9, there was this guy, that was in grade fifth farm. He was in fifth farm and I came in grade third farm, and he used to just stare at me. So, them call him aeroplane peak. He was in fifth farm and I just came in third farm. And I tell you guys, when I came to the school, I was so afraid of him because he was so tall and slim. But every time I passed, he used to just steer me down, steer me down, steer me down, and look at me like that. And I was so shy and afraid because I am coming from a place where I don't even know, I didn't even know about, you know, in terms of, I was coming from a home, grew up in a home where I didn't even know that men and women have to have sex to have children. We weren't taught in my era. My parents never tell me how children were produced, were conceived. So just coming into a boarding school and in third farm and seeing a guy in fifth farm looking at me staring down, I was so shy and afraid. Every time I see him, I had to dodge him because just the steering, he just steered me like that because he was so tall and slim. And I was so intimidated by him, afraid of him. And he used to pass and say, like he want to call me and come. And I would just run away. So when they assign me to the corridors, you assign. So when I look on the roster and see where I'm assigned, I did not like to clean the corridors. I did not like to clean the corridors. Especially cleaning the corridors, you have to clean the whole so anybody come pass and see you. So if I am on the morning shift, if I'm on the morning shift, you can imagine, I'm on the morning shift. I come from school and I go and look at my roster and I'm supposed to go and clean the roster. So those are that are on the evening shift would already be in school. So I'm on the morning shift. I come from school, I have to go and clean the for example, the corridors because that is my where I was assigned for that day. And so each day you're assigned to different duties. So when I'm cleaning the corridors, I'm trying to make it clean the corridors. I don't want this guy to come and see me. I don't want this guy to come and see me. I was so intimidated and afraid of him. I was thrown into a boarding school with no experience about boys and girls situation and all of these things. Can't comb my hair, didn't know how. I was thrown into a world of responsibility and to know how people live. You're good and bad people. You have to learn to defend yourself. You have to know to stand up for yourself. You have to. So I was there learning to take care of myself, learning to comb my hair, learning to wash my clothes, keep my surrounding clean, learning to take up responsibilities and say, I go to school, I make sure I do my assignments, and I come back from school, and when I finish my assignment, I go and take up I go and look at my duty roster and say, where am I assigned to? Corridors, clean, get them up, clean the corridors. And where am I assigned to? Am I assigned to the piggery? I have to go to the piggery, take up, clean the pig pen. Am I assigned to the poultry? I have to go to the poultry and pick up the eggs. Assigned to go to where they milk the cows, to milk the cows, to the fishery, to get the fish, to the farm, whatever I have to look. So so when I come from school as in the morning shift, I have to do that. And if I'm in on the evening shift, if I'm on evening shift in the mornings, I would have to do the same type of duty, then go to school in the evening shift. So those on the evening shift, they would do their duties in the morning. And those on the morning shift would go to class and then come back. So I have to take up my duty. And guess what, guys? You see, after you go to school, whether you go to school in the morning and the evening, you have to do your work. And then in the nights, they have this where the prep, where you have to go, everybody have to go there to do their assignment. In the nights about 7 p.m. you have to go back as a boarding school where you have the dormitory and you have the classroom. In the nights you have to go to, well, I don't remember what they call it now, where you like a prep, what, I don't remember what they call it now, but you have to go there in the nights to do your assignments. So guess what, in the morning, if you're there on the morning shift, you do your duties before, after you come from school. If you're on the evening shift, if you're on the evening shift, you do your duties before you go to school if you're in the evening shift. And if you're on the morning shift, you go to school first and do your duties. When you come back from school now, you get your lunch and you get breakfast, you get your lunch, you go for your lunch, and in the evening you go for supper, and after supper you have to go to prep, go do your assignments. So we had to learn responsibility. So guys, remember, I am learning to take care of myself, to learn to, I'm thrown into a world of responsibility. I have to learn to take care of myself, to comb my hair, to keep my surrounding clean, to live with people. Some of these girls, was I in the dam, they were good, and some of them were good friends, some of them were bad, some of them would mock you, some of them will laugh at you. So you have to go through some kind of mental struggles, with these. You're in a dorm with a lot of girls, dormitory with a lot of girls. Some of them are good, some of them have different characters. You would hear this girl cursing this one and that one cursing that one and that, and I am here, I'm saying, whoa, look at these bullies here, bullies there, and so forth. So I learned boarding school, guys. This is my reality. Boarding school teach me a lot of stuff. And not to mention, guys, when you go to boarding school in the morning, when you go to boarding school, in the mornings you would get a cup of tea. You would get a cup of tea, and you would get like a bread or something, or festival. Bread or something. Most time it's just bread and a cup of tea. And you gone to class. After class, no, you go for your lunch. You go and get your lunch. Sometimes the lines long to get your lunch. When you get your lunch, but in the evening you get supper. But guys, if I tell you about you're hungry, And next thing you have to learn to survive. You see, it's, they're not giving you enough food, you know. You don't get enough food. Sometimes the lunch is small, it's not enough. Sometimes the breakfast not enough. Sometimes the supper. Sometimes there are times when you have to go to your bed hungry, 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 hungry. I remember, you know, guys, there were times when they said that we must, there was a shop, there was a shop outside of the, that sell food outside of the school campus. And they said we must not leave the campus without the security knows. We must not leave the campus without the security know, or you could be in problem with the principal. And there were times when hungry take we, you know. I remember the shop was there, and on the way to the farm, there was a little place that you could go underneath the barbed wire and go through the and go through go and go across the road and go and sneak out of the campus without the security know, and go buy bread and butter. Bread and butter, you know, guys, bread and butter. When hungry, there was another thing about boarding school. They don't give you enough food. So if it's not, if you don't, if you get supper on your belly, enough full. If you get supper and if you get breakfast and the breakfast not enough, you have to wait. You have to wait until lunchtime. And if you get the lunch and the lunch not enough and you eat it and you're still hungry, you'd have to wait until supper. And if you get the supper and the supper not enough, you'd have to wait the next morning before you get something. So there were times when we were hungry over there. Hungry, hunger would have killed me, man. And so I've learned to not only to face these different challenges, but how to survive. I remember this guy, his name is Alada. His name is Alada, they call him Nancy. I remember one time, you know, when you go to supper, sometimes you go to supper, you get porridge, caramel porridge. He got his porridge and he carried some of the porridge to his dormitory. I hear that Nancy carried the porridge to the dormitory and put it in his little cupboard that he has for himself, the little closet that he get. And I hear that even the roach crawl on it. The roach up in the cup of porridge that he have and crawl. And I hear that Nancy does chew away just take the fling off the roach off of the caramel porridge and drink it. And I said, you have to survive. And I remember I said to my mother, you know, I can't take this hungry. And guess what? I was one of the fortunate ones because I live near. I was the one that lived closest to, because Jose Marti was in the border of, you know, near to Duane Park and the Boulevard. So, and my mother could carry, she would carry Horlicks, she would carry milk, she carry bread, and she carry a lot of food stuff for me. She would carry a lot of food stuff for me to eat, and they used to come and beg out me something them to eat. And every time she carried something for me. So guys, I remember, you know, that during the time of the of this going to Ozamarti, that was where I met my first my first boyfriend. I met my first boyfriend at Ozamarti. And one thing where I realized a lot of the students used to do there, when they send them to into the prep to study in the night, some of them doing all kind of things. Some of them kissing with boys and the corridors, in the hidden places in the classroom at night and gone. When they are supposed to be in the classroom studying, they're in corners kissing and doing all with boyfriend and doing all manner of stuff. And I used to say that, you know, me, I'm going to I'm going to high school, but me not gonna no, I'm not gonna be one of those girls that does make boys take them into classroom and have sex with them and tables and benches. No, I'm not gonna do those things. I'm not. I will grow up in the church, and I was not gonna make lower my standard for nobody to itch me up in in in, in, in and benches and whatever to have sex. I'm not gonna do that none at all. And even though I met my first boyfriend in high school, you know, even though when I met him, he tried to, he wanted to do that, but I said, no way am I gonna do those things. No way am I gonna do that. You understand? So we never did at high school. We never did. Some of them, when they, it was the last year of high school, they make the boys, their boyfriend pressure them into doing those things. But I said, I'm not gonna lower my standard to do that. None at all. I'm not gonna lower my standard to do that. None at all. So I left Jose Marti a virgin. I left high school a virgin. I left high school a virgin, guys. Because me, I don't believe in them, for men to just come and use you, and when they and just come and use you and abuse you, and when they get what they want, when they leave high school, they don't business with you, they don't know the friendship done there, so they only use you. Some of the girls that happens to them, but I did not do that. But guess what? He that that first boyfriend that I have in high school, he is my daughter, is my he was my husband and the father of my daughter. He was my husband and the father of my daughter. And yes, we were married for about 15 years. 15 years of marriage before we divorced. And that's another story. That's another story. But I just tell you the reality of my life and my experience from a child to early to teenager. I don't even start to tell you my life when I became an adult because it's late already, so I can't share that with you guys. But I promise you guys another time I'm gonna share that story with you from my experience from an adult, from when I become an adult. So as I said, my childhood experience, it wasn't, it was up and down. But what I when I look back about my childhood experience, I learned a lot. I learned to, I was a responsible person, was always looking, thinking about far above, far, I was thinking about the future. I was way ahead at the time. I was he, when some students just think about, I was thinking about the future and think about my life in the future. So I was always way ahead of time. And I set standard for my life, and those standard I still keep even today. Those standard I still keep today. So guys, let me tell you something. This is just my reality. I don't know about others, but this is my reality. But I realized I was trying to see if I can tell you my realities as an adult. But I said, why should I? But let me introduce you to who I am. Let me tell you a little bit about myself first, in my early years, so that you can get to know, that you can know before I start as an adult. And another thing, when I was growing, even before I started to go high school, I was a very sick person. I was sick when it come on to holidays. When it come on to every holiday, school holiday, I was sick. Every school holiday, I was sick, sick, sick. I used to have this this belly pain so much. But God has come through for me. I remember a time I was so sick in the country. My belly was hurting me so bad. I remember I was crying in the room and my grandaunt came to me and she saw me crying. and she saw me in pain. And I remember she go, I don't know how. It's like when I find myself, it's like when I was looking up, I don't know what happened. I think I had, at that time, I had an out of body experience. I had an out of body experience. I was so sick that I find myself, when I was looking up, it's like I saw this image of Jesus. And then when I looked up, it's like I was I saw my, I remember, my aunt wasn't in the room. My aunt was in the kitchen. And when I looked up, I was seeing my aunt in the kitchen crying. She was in the kitchen hiding, like she was behind uh, um she was hiding in the kitchen. She was in the kitchen crying, and I was not in the kitchen. It's like at that time I had an out of body experience. How could I be there lying on my bed crying in pain, and I could see my grand aunt in the kitchen crying? It's like I had an out of body experience where I could see. I was so sick. I was very sickly when I was growing up. At one point, I thought, I had an out of body experience. And I never said nothing to nobody, guys, until I hear people talk about it. And it is real. It is real, but God was not ready for me yet. He was not ready for me yet. He had a work here for me to do. He had a purpose. And I was always saying that God was always calling me. I don't know if when I was growing up and I used to just love to read the Bible story and read the Bible. So it's like reading the Bible and reading the Bible story is like, the Holy Spirit drawn to me, Jesus drawn to me. He had a special purpose, and I was called. But by the age of 10, I got baptized. It was like, my life was leading into that way. The Lord was calling me into that direction. The Lord was calling me into that direction. And I know that God has a purpose for me because, guys, I remember after getting baptized at the age of 10, even as a teenager, when you're a teenager and you go to high school, once you get baptized young, sometimes you will stray away from the truth. You will stray away from God, because when I was started to go to high school, I wasn't reading my Bible anymore. I wasn't doing the things that I supposed to do, that I was doing. And I used to get visions and dreams of Jesus come, and I was lost. I wasn't ready. I used to get some dreams of seeing, the coming of Jesus was coming in the clouds of heaven, and I was not prepared. I was not ready. It's like he was. So every time I got those dreams, it's like he was calling me back to come to him, because he was those dreams I got, that he was calling me to come back to him. Every time I stray away, I used to get those dreams. I see those dreams of Jesus coming, and you see the clouds burst and the angels, and when you look, it's judgment day, and I was not ready. So every time I strayed away from him, I get those dreams. Is that God was calling me from a young age. I don't know why. So when I got that out of body experience, because I was sick, every every December I was sick. Every Easter I was sick. Every summer holiday I was sick. I used to have this period, not period pain. I used to have this belly pain, stomach pain. I was so sick that when I go to the doctor, and they said to me, when I give me injection, they said, please, when you go to the doctor, don't let them give you no injection that have penicillin. I'm allergic to penicillin tablets and penicillin injection. So when you go, I'm supposed to wear a band on my hand that says allergic to penicillin. So if I'm supposed to meet in an accident and they should carry me to the hospital, they should see this band on my hand that say I'm allergic to penicillin injection. When I was growing up in the country, there was this lady. When I was a young girl growing up in the country, there was this lady in the and she they did not know that she was allergic to penicillin injection, and they give the woman penicillin injection. They give the lady penicillin injection, and she swell up and die. Because if you're allergic to penicillin injections, if you're allergic to it, or you take a penicillin tablets, like you go to antibiotics, sometimes you go to the doctor and they give you antibiotics and they said they would ask you, are you allergic to penicillin? When they give you an injection, they ask you, are you allergic to penicillin injection or penicillin antibiotics? And I say yes, because if you're allergic to those things and you take those things, you're gonna swell up. And that lady, when I was growing up, I was a young girl growing up, not even, I was about 10 or less. And I remember they give her the penicillin injection and she swell up and burst and die, because the doctor should have asked if she are tested to find out if she was allergic to penicillin injection. So I know from going to back and forth with the doctors that I am allergic to penicillin injection and I'm not supposed to get it. So I was very sickly, guys, when I was growing up. I was very sickly. And I remember, let me tell you this. I remember I used to have a lot of worm. I used to get a lot of worm medicine. So I don't know if it's because I used to have a lot of worms, like my stomach used to hurt me like that. But I remember the Lord was so good. The Lord healed me. I remember, when you grow up in the country, we either have this thing we call chimney. If you know what is shimmy is something that when in the night, if, for example, if you have toilet, if you have outside toilet and in the nights when you're sleeping and you don't want to go and use the outside toilet, you used to have this thing called shimmy, where you can, in the nights, if you want to wee wee, you just wee wee in those chimney and you just put it under your bed, and in the next morning you would flush the urine that is in the chimney in the toilet, because you don't want to go out in the middle of the night to go to the outside bathroom. So you would have this thing called chimney, where you use and you urinate in it in the night, and you in the morning you carry. I remember, but we had both inside bathroom and outside bathroom. Thank God. When I grew up in the country, we had running water. We had kitchen, inside kitchen, outside kitchen. We have inside bathroom and outside bathroom. And I remember one time I was in the bathroom. I want to do use. I feel like I want to. There was something wriggling in my bottom. Cause guys, sometimes when you're a child and you have worm, you see when you have worm, you can feel the worm wriggling in your bottom. Those little worms, when you're a child and you grow up, you can feel the worm wriggling in your bottom. So I was there and I feel this thing wriggling, like I feel like I want to do number two. I want to defecate, and I feel this thing wriggling in my bottom. So I went on the toilet seat and it feels so, awful. And I was there and the thing was wriggling. And I was crying the time my grandaunt was talking to the neighbor. And I was saying this thing was wriggling and I was crying out to my grandaunt. And she said, must come, and she was still talking. And there was this chimney in the bathroom, and I sat on the chimney and draw the chimney right out to the front, to the outside where my grand aunt was. And what came out of my body was a long worm. It's the longest worm I've ever seen. The worm, white worm, long from right here to here. This is how the white worm long. From right here to right here. The worm that came out of my body, and the Lord healed me. That was the worm that was in my body that was causing me to have this. Because, guys, I used to eat a lot of sweets. I used to eat a lot of sweets. So I don't know if, because I used to, when I get my lunch money and I go to school, I just buy pear sweets. Pear sweetie I used to buy. So if I don't know if it's because of the sweets that I used to, this the sweets that I used to eat. I don't know if it's the sweets that I used to eat that caused me to have these worms. They used to feed me on a lot of worm medicines. because of the sweet. But that day, when you children have worm, some little fine worm come out in the feces, but that worm was so long, a white worm, and I'm not even telling you a lie. I remember it, the worm long from here to here, and it was white and fat, and the Lord healed me. And guys, from that worm came out of my body. From that worm came out of my body, I didn't have any more sickness. The sickness of every holiday I sick, I did not have that sickness anymore. So it was that worm that was in my body that was eating up, like eating up everything inside of me. But God healed me, because God has a purpose for my life. So guys, this is just my reality, and this reality, maybe I should have put it, my reality. Hi, hi, Dickin, Dickens, how are you? At Atino Dickens, how are you? How are you? Hi. So, good night, good morning to you. If it's morning, good night, good afternoon, or good evening. So I should have mentioned right here my reality, guys. My reality as a child. How are you doing at Dickens? Where are you Jamaican? Are you Jamaican, Dickens? Let me give a shout out. Don't mind if I call you by your first name, guys. You're welcome. So this is my reality, guys. My reality as a child growing up. My reality as a child and early teens growing up. That is just my reality. In the next video, I will share my reality as an adult. So, guys, this is Thursday. On Thursdays, I talk about controversial topics. On Thursdays, I talk about controversial topics. And so tonight, I'm talking about myself and my reality as a child growing up. My reality as a child growing up. So if you was watching the video from the start, you would get what I'm saying. I share with you on this live. If you was watching the live from its start, you would hear I was trying to explain to you my realities and my experience from a child, from a child to early teens. So I was giving you my reality as a child growing up. Yes, so my reality as a child growing up, guys. So, guys, I just want to shout out. Let me see if I can shout out. So, thank you at Dickens, at T, at Ting, no, dash E2F8N. Hi, thanks for joining. What did I have here? I have Samira, what will some 7318. Thanks for joining. We have at totally cut. Yes, thanks for joining. We have Pooh Pooh dash 19S. Thanks for joining. We had Neg. Hello, good morning. Neg Shay. Good morning. So I had much person. I had one, two, three, four, five persons. So guys, I'm gonna, as you see, it's very late. I'm gonna end the video right now. I'm gonna end the video, guys. Thank you guys for joining. So the next Thursday, as I said, on Thursdays is controversial topics. So on Thursdays, I will talk and give you part two, because I'm giving you part one of my life as a child growing up. And then next Thursday now, I'm gonna give you part two of my reality as an adult growing up. And these videos, guys, are to let you know more about who is behind this YouTube channel. So giving you these realities about myself will help you to understand the person that is behind this channel, the person that you're viewing, that you can know me more. So stay tuned for next week. And guys, tomorrow I'm gonna, on Fridays we have Bible study, devotion, and Bible study. So Friday, tomorrow at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. we're gonna have, as usual, devotion and Bible study. Bible study or devotion. And while we have it on Friday, we are giving God thanks for carrying us safely throughout the week so we could see another weekend. So remember, on this channel, we have also have Bible studies and devotion. Bible study starting at 9 p.m. Jamaica time. So when you see, press the notification bell. Please like the video, guys. Press the like button. Please subscribe to the channel and come over to this channel and join the channel. There's a lot of fun stuff that we're gonna do on this channel together. My team TLW. You are team TLW on this channel, and we are gonna do. I'm gonna carry to different places. Carry, as you can see. Sometimes I'm doing outdoor adventures. Sometimes I'm doing up like having chit chat live video where I talk about controversial topics. Sometimes I am doing devotional. Sometimes I'm doing a cooking video. Sometimes I'm carrying you to different places in Jamaica, adventures, back to nature. So this is the channel. It's, this channel is about just my reality, my lifestyle, and how I live. I'm a very down to earth person and practical. You see me here, this is my reality. This is my real self. You have some people come on YouTube and they pretend. You take it or you leave it. I'm not gonna pretend with you. This is my reality. This is who I am. Sometimes I get up in the mornings and I will do videos, and you will see me, when I wake up. I don't have any makeup, but here not done, and you see the real self. And next time you see me, how me look beautiful in, and another time you see me look beautiful in my clothes, going to church or going to work. Another time you come and you see me just wake up and I don't have on my wig, I don't have any makeup. You see this face of mine. Just, some people, they would never come on live if they not put on them hair, if they not put on no makeup and no this. Then some women will never do that. They're not gonna make you see whether they're ugly. Some of them, there is makeup make them look pretty. So when they don't have on no makeup, they don't look pretty, and they will never come on live and and in a social media looking like that. But I don't care. I come and I show you my true authentic self. When I'm looking pretty, you see me. When I'm not looking so pretty, you see me. When I'm feeling good, you see me. When I'm not feeling good, you see me. Wait, so you see me all around. So this is me, guys. So this is a channel where you come if you want to know somebody real or authentic. Real or authentic. This is the channel. There's no pretending around here. That is why I said to you guys, don't be shy when you come out. When I was younger, I was like that. But you see, when I get older, I don't have the time. I don't care what people want to think. about me, you know. I'm not going to pretend to please people. At the same time, I'm not going to do nothing to insult people or to behave in a abrasive way. But at the same time, I am not about that type of life. I leave that to the younger generation. It's practical, it's real, you know, that's me. So, guys, thank you for joining. Love you guys. Let me give you the little love emoji. Love you. Let me see if I can do it like the young people. Is it how we do it? Yeah. Love you. Take care. Bye bye.